After 3 days of debate, the Amazon dialogue held in the Brazilian city of Belém will end on Sunday. In the event, representatives of various sectors of society discussed the future of the Amazon region. On Sunday, Japan marks the 78th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima by the U.S., which killed almost 140,000 people. In Pakistan, at least 19 people were killed and more than 50 injured on Sunday when an express train derailed in the south of the country. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Rosabal from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. After 3 days of debates, the Amazon dialogue held in the Brazilian city of Belém will end on Sunday. In the event, representatives of various sectors of society discussed the future of the Amazon region. Since last Friday, representatives of social movements, academia, research centers, as well as Brazilian government agencies and other Amazonian countries analyzed the challenges facing the largest rainforest on the planet. The protection of native people, the climate crisis and health, as well as sovereignty, food security, and the bioeconomy were the main topics analyzed. It is expected that at the close of the event, they will draft a document containing proposals to protect and address the problem faced by the Amazon region and its inhabitants. The final document of the Amazon dialogues will be sent to the leaders of the countries of the Amazon Cooperation Treaty Organization, who will meet next Monday and Tuesday also in the capital of the state of Pará in the so-called Amazon Summit. In Colombia, according to reports from the Institute for Development and Peace, at least 100 social and indigenous leaders have been assassinated so far this year. According to INDEPAZ, despite the improvements made by the government of Gustavo Petro to achieve total peace in Colombia, since the signing of peace agreement in August 2016, around 1,514 social leaders and defenders have been assassinated. Out of the figure, 100 correspond to the victims of systematic violence, and from January to August 2023, a number that was completed with the crime of national indigenous leader Luis Eduardo Tinamá last Friday. On Saturday, the president of Bolivia, Luis Arce Catacora, highlighted the achievements of his administration during his speech for the celebration of the 198th anniversary of the independence of Bolivia.
Since the beginning of our administration, we have been working for health, facing the challenges posed by the pandemic, education and the economy, promoting dignified and sovereign policies that allow us to achieve a stable economy with growth and social justice. We retake our social, communitarian, and productive economic model, and we orient our best efforts to improve the economic situation of the Bolivian people, emphasizing industrialization with import substitution and food security and sovereignty.
The president also highlighted the benefits of the industrialization of natural resources.
A few weeks ago, we released new data on our lithium reserves, which now exceed 23 million tons, and ratified that we are the world's first lithium reserve. Our commitment to industrialization is not going to change. Creating a broad base in our economy implies taking advantages of the extraordinary wealth that Mother Earth gives us, which we must also take care of. Industrialization is national liberation.
The president reiterated that his administration's foreign immigration policy will continue to focus on the fight against human trafficking.
Our foreign policy is oriented to hold frank and sincere dialogues at bilateral and regional levels on the migration issue in order to address it always from a humanitarian perspective. And with a resilient approach, we promote mechanisms for a coordinated and joint fight against human trafficking in order to safeguard the right to freedom and dignity of every Bolivian man and women abroad and of all migrants. We fight for the establishment of solidarity, complementarity, equity, and reciprocity between people and peoples because we believe that this is the solution to the migratory crisis marked by war conflicts, the climate, economy, water, energy and food crisis that the world is going through today.
Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, new dates, and more. Other studies coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. Russian armed forces fought without damage in a Ukrainian attack on Moscow City. Ukrainian military sent an unmanned aerial vehicle against buildings in the capital of Russia, which was shot down by the air defense system in the Podolsky district. The city council stated that the timely and professional actions of the defense forces managed to repel this new aggression, which added to several registered in recent weeks. On Saturday, Ukrainian armed forces attacked the center of Donetsk with cluster munitions. This was confirmed by the Joint Control and Coordination Center of the Donetsk People's Republic, which monitors Ukrainian war crimes. The agency denounced the launch of 4 155 shells from the locality of Nedailovo into 3 Donetsk neighborhoods. Videos released in the media show the National University of Economics and Trade in flames. It is still unknown if there are any casualties from the attack. On Sunday, Japan marks the 78th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima by the U.S., which killed almost 140,000 people. The highlight of the event was the traditional peace declaration delivered at the ceremony in the Peace Memorial Park by Hiroshima Major Kazumi Matsui. On the occasion of the group of 7 leaders' historic visit to Japan's park and its atomic bomb museum, Matsui urged policymakers to abandon the notion that nuclear weapons entail war. The gruesome nuclear legacy took center stage at the last G7 summit of major economies in May in Japan. A moment of silence was observed at 8:15 a.m. local time, the exact time when the uranium bomb was dropped by the U.S. bomber Enola Gay and detonated over the city on August 6, 1945, killing an estimated 140,000 people by the end of the year. On Sunday, Pope Francis presided over a World Youth Day Mass at Parque Tejo in Lisbon as he wrapped up his 5-day trip to Portugal. Francis made an announcement at the end of Mass before an estimated 1.5 million pilgrims, many of whom camped out overnight on the Lisbon field so they could be in place for the grand finale of the Catholic festival. Joining them were some 700 bishops and 10,000 priests. In Lisbon, he was back on comfortable turf with many people who can easily follow his native Spanish and seem to appreciate his conversational way of communicating. They also seem to appreciate a massive turnout. The government of China created a new special fund to help those affected by rains in the country's northern region. The Central Administration, the Ministry of Finance and Emergency Management of China reported that $50 million will be allocated to rescue work, as well as for the recovery of affected buildings and constructions. Authorities detailed that local governments will be able to make use of the funds to face emergencies and assist families affected by Typhoon Doksuri. In China, at least 23 people were injured and dozens of buildings collapsed after a shallow 5-point magnitude earthquake struck eastern China in the early hours of Sunday. According to U.S. Geological Surveys, the quake struck at 2:33 a.m. local time, 26 kilometers south of the city of Desu in Shandong province at a depth of 10 kilometers. The quake was left as far away as Beijing and Tianjin, as well as in Shanghai, about 800 kilometers from the epicenter. Videos on social media showed shaking live features from the ground and people evacuating the buildings, with one clip showing people walking past bricks scattered on the ground. USG's pager system, which provides preliminary assessments on the impact of earthquakes, issued a red alert, estimating extensive damage and some casualties were probably based on previous quake data. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at TeleSUR English. There you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Pakistan, at least 19 people were killed and more than 50 injured on Sunday when an express train derailed in the south of the country. The Hazara train was rolling from Karachi to Abbottabad when 8 coaches derailed, one of which overturned near Sahar station in Nawabshah city. The authorities informed that personnel from the risk management system were assigned to search and rescue the victims and other injured people, as well as to clear the tracks that were blocked. The Hazar Express is a daily passenger train that departs from the southern part of the city, Karachi, and takes about 33 hours to reach Havelian in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, somewhat 1,600 kilometers to the north. On Sunday, Niger's junta faces a deadline set by the regional bloc known as ECOWAS to release and reinstate the democratically elected President Mohamed Bazoum. If the junta does not comply, it may face foreign military intervention. Residents in the capital, Niamey, hope that negotiations will be held to avoid further conflict. Life is getting harder as economic sanctions imposed since it could begin to show their effects, with basic staples such as rice and vegetables seeing sharp price rises. Niger's borders with its main trade partners have been closed and delivery trucks are said to be blocked at the border with Benin. Nigeria has also cut its electricity supply to Niger. It usually supplies the majority of the country's power, but now power cuts are lasting longer and there's more of them. The National Council for the Safeguarding of the Homeland of Niger renews its military high command within hours of the expiration of the ultimatum received from ECOWAS to restore the constitutional order. After the failure of the mediation delegation, the military chief of the ECOWAS member countries drew up a plan for military intervention in Niger, the detail of which remains secret. This after the military junta decided to suspend all security cooperation agreements with France. For his part, ECOWAS maintains the threat to intervene in the country if President Mohamed Bazoum is not reinstated by Sunday at the latest. The Israeli occupation forces have killed at least 31 Palestinian children so far in 2023. International children's rights organizations announced the escalation of killings and arrests of children and young people in an unprecedented manner. They also questioned the international community for inaction in the face of the Israeli siege against the child population. In this regard, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates of Palestine condemned the Israeli brutality against minors in the occupied territories. In Israel, protests against the government's judicial reforms have entered the 31st week. The protests were triggered last month after the Israeli government passed the first major piece of legislation in Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's plan to overhaul the country's legal system, which divided the country and rattled the powerful military and influential business. The plan seeks to weaken the country's Supreme Court and transfer more powers to Parliament. Supporters say Israeli unelected judges wield too much power, but opponents say the judges played an important oversight role and that the plan will push Israel toward autocratic rule. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Mariana Rosabal. Thank you for watching.